Still thinking about applying for the Paycheck Protection Program? Well, the deadline to receive a loan is here. It's today. Borrowers have until midnight tonight to apply. So since being launched in early April, the SBA has approved more than $518 billion in loans. And instead of being depleted, get this, more than $134 billion still remains unclaimed. No word yet on whether the deadline's going to be extended, if money is still left on the table, what they're going to do with that money, although there's been discussion about it. More than 5,000 banks have given out funds, including top lenders like JP Chase, Bank of America, and Truist Bank. Smaller regional banks also lending billions. They were a key part of the whole story. Let's bring in now one of them, President and CEO of Valley National Bank, Ira Robbins. Ira, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So let's talk about this, because the big story here is all of the unclaimed money. Were you surprised that this round of PPP was not completely cleared out?
Absolutely. When they first announced the second phase, our anticipation was that it'd be gone within 5 to 7 days based on the demand that we had seen in the prior round. That said, I think a lot of the uncertainty surrounding what some of the provisions of the program were led to some concern regarding borrowers potentially accessing the funds.
One of the issues I think about with PPP in particular is restaurants. Even as some of the reopenings have started, now they're stalled in some states. Even these restaurants can only operate at, say, 50% capacity. You know, outdoor dining has been an option. But if they extended the program, do you think that they should target it to specific types of businesses? And if so, which types of businesses would you recommend?
Well, let's start with they should definitely extend the program without question. That said, this recession has hit many industries, unlike previous recessions before. At Valley, only 13% of the applicants for our PPP were either in the hotel or restaurant industry, recognizing that this was impacting every single small business across the entire spectrum of industry. So for us, I do believe that it should be extended. It should be extended, though, with some of the provisions that were recently adopted by Congress as opposed to what the original restrictions were. The 8-week time window initially to address as to how long you were able to keep your employees for was just too short. It wasn't consistent with what many of the reopening plans were for some of the geographies that we operated in. And I think as we move forward and look to apply additional federal stimulus, we should absolutely go and apply more PPP funds to many of these small businesses, but give them the flexibility that we've now adopted, where it be 24 weeks or change some of the payroll restrictions as to what was initially put forth.
A couple of questions. First, I want to ask you how the program went as far as, was it smooth to get the money out to these businesses? I know a lot of the business owners themselves had a tough time with it, but Senator Marco Rubio has already kind of floated the idea that maybe you take what's left of the program, $25 billion goes to small businesses, those that have employees of 10 or less. I want to get your take on that. And then also, is there anything that they should change as far as how the federal government and that program works with you, the bank, to get the money out if they decide to extend the program?
So let me say right off the bat, I applaud the federal government for being so proactive right off the bat. One of the challenges has been for us in working with the federal government is that the rules continuously change. The first forgiveness application that was sent to us was 11 pages. Now it's down to 3 pages. And for us to put forth programs and systems to make it easy for our users to apply for forgiveness has been a real challenge as the program constantly changes. One ask I would have is that we just leave everything as is. The more complications, the more variables that we apply to it, the more uncertainty, it just makes it more challenging for us to connect with our customers. And our customers just want to know that there's certainty there, give them a little bit more flexibility to assign and align the payment forgiveness with the reopenings that happen in each individual geography.
Right.
In New York and New Jersey, for instance, an 8-week time window that was initially established, they weren't even allowed to open many of these restaurants. Right now, we've still created hindrances for these businesses to really succeed. We need to extend the program and apply the 24 weeks fully for all these businesses.
And to your point, you operate in New York, New Jersey, Florida. These are the hot spots, and these are the businesses that really need it. Ira Robbins. Ira, thank you for being with us. We certainly appreciate it.